David, tell me a little bit about how you got into specializing in technology and innovation.
Okay, so it was really a little bit by accident, I think. So
really?
Yeah, so I was a professor for 20 years at the Wharton School, and about 10 years ago, there was a bunch of students, creating new kinds of companies. One was called diapers.com, selling basically baby products, Pampers and so on online. So taking existing products from offline and selling them on a platform. So I became very interested in how does an e-commerce company, say in Mexico or United States, how do they grow their sales over time and over space? What's the process? So I was doing research in that. And then I would speak about some of this research in my class, teaching MBA students, and then these guys came to my office hours and said, oh, we want to start an online company selling eyewear online. It turns out this is the famous Warby Parker company, now valued at about $2 billion. So really initially through research, interaction with students, and then I became very passionate about it. I started to create university classes on this topic, doing investing, and just kind of went from there.
Okay, yeah. How long ago was that?
It was about 10 years ago that it started, yeah.
How challenging has it been?
So I think the biggest challenge from a research and teaching point of view was to try and figure out what is really the issues to study, what are the issues to talk about in a class, because even now there's not really too much of a textbook. If you want a classic marketing textbook, I'm sure it's sold here in Mexico, would be Philip Kotler from Northwestern and Kevin Keller from Tuck, Kotler and Keller, it's everywhere. It's an amazing book, and of course they keep modifying it, but when I taught the class there was not really much research or content. That was the first challenge. And the second challenge is I think there's so many opportunities for entrepreneurship. Which ones do you pick? Which markets should you focus on to disrupt?
Sure. Speaking about that, you sort of specialize in pharma? Or
more, I would say consumer and retail. Pharma a little bit, but I would say mainly consumer and retail. So products that we like, our shoes, pants, food. Basic consumer products has been most of my with some pharma, but I would say I'm not such an expert there.
Okay. So what industries must be in the technology adventure, I would say?
Well, I think almost now every industry is going to be totally transformed by technology. So you think about, I think it's this week is happening, the IPO of Uber, right? We already had the IPO of Lyft. So the global transport industry completely changed by technology and the coordination of different transportation assets through technology rather than through ownership, through platforms. You think about the finance industry, complete transformation of money as a hard good into a soft good, and fintech and all of that. If you think about the consumer industry, all of the new digital native brands, actually one just today, amazingly, Harry's, which is a shaving company started by some of my former students, just sold today for $1.3 billion as an exit. So all of these consumer businesses are also being changed. So you think about education as one of the most protected and arcane industries, where university professors get paid a pretty good salary to teach their students. But now, of course, you could have a professor from maybe a less known school, and she could have a global audience. Maybe she's the best professor in the world of a certain subject. So I think technology is really changing the model for every sector.
Exactly.
Every sector.
It's changed the world.
Yes.
For starting companies, what would be the key advices you would give them?
So I think the thing that I focus on often, and it could be something in consumer and retail, or maybe adjacent healthcare, if it's things like things for your teeth, things for your skin, it's more sort of cosmetic health, but really start by thinking what's the personal pain point that you have as a consumer that you want to solve, okay? And this is actually not that different than even in history. Howard Schultz, who started Starbucks, I think he basically got the idea because he went to Italy and he noticed in Italy people drink a lot of coffee, okay? In America, they drink a lot of coffee. But in Italy, it's good coffee in a cafe from a barista. In America, it's bad coffee from a supermarket made in your house. So, why is this problem? So he led him to create Starbucks. And I think even more so now, you can be somebody who has a pain. Why is this product so high? Why is this product bad for the environment? Why is this product no good for my kids? And you actually now have the ability to change that, because all of the infrastructure to create a company and to deliver some product or service to customers is there.
Okay, so you wouldn't start you would start on the product, not on the technology.
Yes, 100%. And maybe
Okay.
that's my own personal bias. I
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
What is the pain point that you're trying to solve?
Okay.
So let's say, I was 20 years in the education business. Let's say I want to bring education to people who don't have access to a university. I would think about how to do it. And then, of course, there would be a technology to distribute that via the phone or some platform. But I guess as a marketing guy, I would always start with
Okay.
what's the pain point, who's the customer, what's the problem to solve, and then see how does technology help that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last, music is
Yes.
always innovating,
Yeah.
and it's about going to making explode heads and spirits and everything.
Sure.
And we know that you are into music a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
I know. How inspiring is it for your business side?
For me, like playing some music and so on with my friends is actually a lot of fun. Actually, one of my friends, believe it or not, he lives in New York, but from Mexico City.
Oh, really?
He and I sometimes in New York on Saturday afternoon get together and play guitar and maybe drink a beer.
Okay.
So I really enjoy it, and of course, I think now again through platforms like Spotify and YouTube. I mean, you have the ability to discover all kinds of music, whether it's something very historical from a famous composer to the latest kind of niche piece of music that you would normally never hear. The technology sort of opens up this possibility that you can really expand your own taste and your own enjoyment of music. So I think that's also fantastic.
How do you apply that experience into the business world? That's mainly my question.
Okay, so I think the application for me is the ability to discover new and interesting and authentic things has sort of never been greater before.
Okay.
And you can discover them through your social network, through influencers, through content that exists online, but just your ability to kind of know what's there and know what fits you as a person.
Okay.
That used to be very challenging in the old economy. In the new economy, that's much easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, my pleasure.
You've been very generous.
Thank you, so have you. Thank you. Thanks.